This video is intended for educational purposes only. Advice should be sought about your specific matter. No attorney-client relationship is formed between any client and attorney Don Dennis until there is a signed engagement agreement and payment of an initial deposit. No client-consultant agreement has been formed between any client and Inverted Chaos Incorporated until there is a signed agreement and payment of an initial deposit.
Hello everyone, my name is Hurtado. Got guests with me, Don Dennis on the line. We got some interesting stuff to go over. Some really cool YouTube stuff, I feel. I think people are going to be really interested with this topic. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. Glad to be here. As Lewis said, we got news you can use.
Yeah, we're as you know, we're coming at you from Silicon Beach. We both work in the tech industry, and a lot of this stuff is, straight from the horse's mouth stuff that we look at on a personal level, professional level, that kind of thing. So, hope you dig the episode. So, yeah, go ahead.
So what's going on this week, Lewis? What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I've been listening to these live stream, essentially pirated radio stations on YouTube. They're fantastic in terms of the curation of music, and we say they're pirated because typically they used unlicensed music content. They're not sanctioned by YouTube in any form. They don't use copyright, no licenses. So typically. But man, they're like super popular. They've been exploding on YouTube like crazy. Okay.
And also, from a legal standpoint, aren't they pirated because they don't have official licenses from the FCC in order to set up as a radio station?
Right. I didn't even think of that. You're totally correct. I don't know if that would be something like streaming over the internet as a radio station, like how that works, where it's like over the air, like over the radio waves kind of thing, or if it's over the internet. I figure you would know way more about that stuff. But definitely in the official sense, they're just like literally they're kids, college kids in their dorm rooms playing music for everybody else. So it's like a new version of Napster where it's like they're not necessarily downloading and taking music offline. They're just playing it in the background, which is what I usually do, and as you work, you're listening to these stations.
So how can you kind of describe in a little bit more detail how exactly this works if someone was like logging on and going onto YouTube?
Yeah, so this all started out back in 2016, way back when Twitch was basically, Justin TV. There were all these live streaming platforms. Twitch was the big popular one though, where people would live stream their video game playing. Like they would sit down at the computer or on their couch and then start playing video games, and then people would pop in and watch people, like really, really good gamers, typically watch them play video games, which is like the same idea as like, imagine if you were watching a professional football player or a professional basketball player practice, and then people are totally into that kind of stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's the same idea. Like you want to watch people doing it like right there, right then. And there was a lot of interactivity as well. You could go on chat and then ask them questions and be like, hey, like how do you do this, or what happens when you have this situation, and there would be a lot of back and forth, which is great. It's actually like. You're not watching a video. You know that they're actually sitting down at the chair right there, right then, and you can talk to them. So
it's responsive.
Yeah, definitely. So like that technology was created elsewhere. YouTube, in response, created their own live streaming platform, and these how do you say, these like radio music operators in their dorm. These college kids basically they took advantage of that technology of live streaming, and they started playing music so that people would listen in and essentially become like a radio station, like a live radio station. So that's the nuts and bolts of it. Is you would go on YouTube, and then you would see like a little live with a red, live thing, and you click on it just like any other video, and then you're able to listen to music live as you would in a radio station, like that kind of thing.
So the music that they're playing, is it music that they own, or music that these operators have created, or whose music are they playing?
Yeah, typically they're playing music that's already freely available on other music sharing platforms like SoundCloud. It's not like they're not like huge, it's not like Dr. Dre or whatever, some huge professional musician. They're like up and coming musicians that could stand to get a little bit of notoriety or like have people listen to their songs. So it's a good benefit to let your music be played on these stations if you're like up and coming. But also from my research, I've seen that some of the stations are actually run by the music labels themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're like masquerading under these like, oh, we're an independent radio station, but they're really just it's a big commercial for all the musicians.
So it's kind of like with other advertising and endorsements, everyone, whether it's a commercial, they want it to seem organic. They want it to seem real, but in reality, sometimes it's not necessarily what it appears to be.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it honestly, as long as the content is good, like I don't care who it's coming from. It's fine if it's a corporate shill kind of thing. It's totally okay.
Okay.
But that's what I've seen in my research. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So you were saying sometimes the label has a channel where they're putting a station where they're putting up music, but other times it might be just an individual. You were saying sometimes from a college room putting up the music, and if individuals are putting it up, even if it's an up and coming artist, they may or may not have permission or own the music that they're putting up. Is that right?
Yeah, they really don't have the license or the permission from the musician to put it up, and that's why a lot of these that's why a lot of these stations have exploded onto YouTube, and they're like super fly by night. They come on and they last for literally like a week, and then they get taken down by either the musicians.
Really?
Yeah, by either the musicians themselves or by YouTube. But there's like a few of the more popular ones, like ChilledCow is like super huge. I'll put that in the link in the description below, and where they're just allowed to be there. People are like, I feel like YouTube and the musicians, and they're all just kind of like putting a blind eye to it because they're so popular, and they're like, hey, this is kind of like a good benefit for everybody. So, yeah.
Now, to be honest, until you brought this to my attention, I was not really familiar with these stations. But from a copyright standpoint, I do know that if you don't own the copyright to music and you don't have permission, and it's not fair use, you can be accused of copyright infringement. And one of the ways that YouTube deals with these things is they will, if someone files a DMCA notice, a takedown notice, a Digital Millennium Copyright Act notice saying, hey, they're putting you on notice, you're using someone else's copyrighted content, whether it's a music, song, or a video, what have you, and you don't own it, they will make you stop displaying it and take it down. So, you can get a strike, I think, from YouTube. And if you get too many strikes, they will take down your channel. So I think that might have something to do with what you were saying. Some of these channels come and go, and they may be gone in a week, because in a week, or even in one day, if you have 3 different videos or 3 different songs up from 3 different artists and you don't own it, that could technically be 3 strikes where they would have to disband your channel. So I do know, with respect to what you were just mentioning from the legal standpoint concerning copyright issues, that's how the copyright law could be implicated. But why, and you explained why some musicians like it, because it gives them opportunity to exploit their platform to gain greater notoriety and things of that nature. But what other benefit, how is it benefiting the operator? I mean, what do they get out of this by going through all this effort, compiling this music, creating this channel, I mean, do they have any, are there any benefits afforded them by going through this?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, as I stated before, they're just college kids who they don't really care if they make any money off of this. It's just they really care a lot more about the music and the content, and putting that up there so that other people can listen to the same type of music that they're into.
Okay.
But I have also seen that like a lot more of the popular ones that have stuck around, like ChilledCow, for example, they do have links in the description for merchandise like hoodies and T-shirts, and
Really?
they're big on like the brand that they've created. So I'm sure they're making money off of that, So it can't be a ton of money, but I'm sure it's enough money to where like it's profitable just for them. It's not going to become this huge. They're not going to become this huge record label or like a big company, but just for them to just make enough money while they're in college. Like I'm sure that's what's going on.
Now, for anyone that's watching this video right now, I encourage you to watch our other videos because we've talked about the importance of protecting your brand, making money off of your brand, and protecting your ideas and intellectual property. And so I think that fits right into what Lewis was just speaking of. Lewis, why do most of the channels show short loop clips of anime characters studying and reading?
Yeah, this seems to be like a trend amongst a bunch of different channels. No matter which ones you click on, it seems to be like the same motif, which is like anime clips of kids or characters, cartoon characters, basically sitting down, studying, reading, and they've actually tried changing that to like different backgrounds and things like that, but the audience like clamors for it and says, no, we want these specific. We want to see someone studying, someone reading, and essentially, like, and the same thing with me when I'm listening to these stations. You pop it on. I pop it on when I'm working, and it's kind of nice to have it off in another window, and then seeing, even if it's a virtual character, like going gung ho and like studying and reading, and like it gives you motivation and it makes you feel like, okay, like I can do this too. So I think that's what's going on. It's like they create these little virtual characters where they're like, I can do this as well.
Have you ever, or does Inverted Chaos, can it help individuals that want to create interactive, and I'm going a little bit beyond the radio station, because the premise of the radio station and of Twitch and the things that you're talking about is that they were interactive, where users or listeners can kind of sometimes interact with the person putting the content out. But as Inverted Chaos, can they help people create interactive websites and other platforms to engage with their customers and potential customers?
Yeah, my company can definitely do create websites, interactive content. There's actually there's technology available where you can create cartoon characters and have it be driven through your webcam. So imagine I have like kind of like those Snapchat video filters where like they attach to your face. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like
those ears.
Yeah, exactly. So you can create like custom. Let's say you, as an example, your company logo or your company mascot was like the Michelin Man. Like the big white dude. So it's like you could literally create a character out of that and then have someone like a representative on screen. And then talking and emoting and things like that. But then the person that you see is actually the visual cartoon character, like actually like bouncing around and the mascot basically. So that's all possible, and like my company can handle things like that for sure. One thing that I wanted to mention is how they actually how these channels skirt the DMCA or like the copyright system. Okay. From what my research is, from what I've seen is. The copyright system goes through and flags after you've uploaded the live stream to YouTube, because it doesn't do it live. It doesn't go in and check whether you've got the copyright or the license for these songs, things like that, until after you've ended the stream. And some of these streams have been going on for months. Like they never turn it off. It's just like a continuous live stream that's been going on forever and ever and ever, basically. So the YouTube algorithm never goes in and checks these things. So that's why they're able to survive, basically. You know what I mean? So that's how they're going around it. It's interesting.
And with respect to a lot of other IP issues, if someone is using your logo or your brand, they're going to keep using it until someone notices it.
Right, exactly.
Or, and not only notices it, but files a complaint. And even if someone just sends someone a letter saying, hey, you're using my logo, you're using my song without permission, they don't have to stop using it because you can't call the police on them and the police will make them stop.
Yeah.
They'll keep using it until most likely they get sued and lose in court.
Right.
So it's not like, so you have to really be, I think, adamant with enforcing your brand. Just because you protect it, you have to really be adamant in terms of policing it and making sure people don't use your content.
Yeah, definitely. So that's something that your office can handle, right? In terms of setting up these, going out and checking trademark and IP and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's tools in place that, are available to assist clients in policing their brand, but more so in enforcing it, because you don't want to just tell people, hey, stop, I'm going to call the police or I'm going to do something, and you never do it.
Right.
Because then it's like you're crying wolf. So, for
threats.
individuals that are serious,
Mm-hmm.
and really want to do something about it, and are prepared for the action and the time that it's going to take to get something done, I definitely, encourage those individuals to contact my office.
Definitely. So yeah, maybe like just one more thing to wrap it up. Like the reason that they've been exploding in popularity on YouTube in terms of live streams is because YouTube really wanted to show off this new technology. Like, hey, look, we're doing live streams. Like, isn't this super cool? So they tweaked their algorithm to push these popular live streams up to the top. And the way it sorts it is by watch time. So if people were watching these for like, let's say over 30 minutes, sometimes hours and hours, they would push that up to the top. And then if you're listening to music, I usually have mine on for as I'm working, a couple hours a day. So they took advantage of the algorithm. Maybe not on purpose, just because it's just the way of the nature of listening to music and working and studying and things like that. A lot of more people started being like, oh, what is this? Let me click on this. And then they're like, oh, it's cool music. I really like this. And more and more people started swarming towards it. You know what I mean? So It's interesting how like technology and policies like created this phenomenon. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that was cool, right? Like, there's some. We'll see what comes of it, because right now YouTube is basically like turning a blind eye to the whole thing. They really are, because they're like, well, ultimately they're not making a ton of cash. It's not like they're not going to topple Spotify and Apple Music and Pandora and things like that. So it really harkens back to like the 90s, where it's like the literal pirate radio stations where you could put up your own antenna and then start broadcasting and things like that. It's cool. It's interesting to see how constantly like the internet just reinvents itself, So
yeah. So if you're listening, if you're seeing this podcast, pay attention to the fact that Lewis is putting you on the cutting edge as to what's going on. And think very hard if you want your business to be on that cutting edge of technology, and get in early rather than wait for everyone else to do it. Why not you do it first and be one of the early innovators and pioneers in the field to really set your business apart and be prepared to take advantage of this, growing area, rather than wait for everyone else to do it and then jump on board. Because in some of the articles that Lewis provided in preparing for this, I noticed that one company was an innovator, but now future companies are trying to jump on board. So there always are opportunities with the changing and evolution of technology to be upfront, to get on the wave before it, kind of fizzles out. And now I think we're just getting the opportunity to join on board. So definitely contact Inverted Chaos, and I believe the link and all the description and information is on the website. Also, I encourage you to visit the website, because you can see on Inverted Chaos's website examples of all the capabilities that the company can provide for your business to really set you apart, and you can see the level of quality that is being done for his clients. So I, greatly encourage you to take a look at and hit that link.
Very well said. Very well said. Same thing. Please check out dondennislaw.com. The URL is below, and his Instagram at what is it? Attorney Don Dennis. Is that which one it is?
It's Attorney Don Dennis.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
type that in.
Yeah, he's always posting some really fascinating stuff. So, and same thing. His services and contact is listed on his website. If you have any issues with technology, privacy policies, terms of use, terms of service are fantastic, and just overall getting that protection, that legal protection, just to make sure that you got someone looking out for you. Again, thanks, Don. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
All right, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yep, thanks. Well, everyone, I appreciate you watching us, listening to us, and please comment below if you have any questions, if you have any topics you'd like to have us cover. We'll see you again. Thanks.
All right, thank you.